All right, this is DB talking now. DB talking birds. DB talking Philadelphia Eagles. Welcome, guys. What's up? What's up? So the Philadelphia Eagles had their joint practice with the New York Jets today, and apparently did a phenomenal job. Apparently, they dominated the New York Jets in their one of two joint practices. Obviously, ahead of their third and final preseason game with the New York Jets on Friday. It sounds like a familiar tune, guys. It sounds like a familiar tune. Apparently, the Philadelphia Eagles are phenomenal when it comes to the joint practices. So, I mean, there's a few things that I want to talk about. Obviously, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some player performances as of, like Jalen Ertz, who did a phenomenal job today, throwing at all three levels against the defense, against the New York Jets defense. Connected with Quez Watkins a couple times. Connected, had a few nice balls thrown to Travis Fulgham, who also had a decent day. Catching passes from Jalen Hurts and Joe Flacco. And then also, Jalen Hurts also connected with Dallas Goedert for a 40-yard touchdown. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and we're going to talk a little bit about running back Kenny Gainwell, who I just continue to fall in love with. We're going to talk about possible new suitors for Zach Ertz, because the New Orleans Saints have some injuries at their tight end position. We're going to talk about that a little bit, but obviously we've been ravaged by injuries at the tight end position as well. So do I actually think that Zach Ertz is going to get up and move and get traded to the New Orleans Saints? I don't necessarily think anything is on the brink of happening unless we're completely blown away with an offer. For right now, guys, I think that Zach Ertz is going to stay on the roster until possibly mid-season. When something is more likely to happen. Toxic Falcons, what's up, my man? Happy day. And so here, let's just go ahead and start off with talking about Kenny Gainwell. I know I uploaded a video about it just recently, but I think that he gives us reason to not be so panicked. To not be so panicked about the wide receiver depth chart. Reason being is they're going to use this guy all over the field. They're going to use this guy all over the field in the passing game, in the running game, and he's just going to be completely electric. He reminds me a lot of a Tyreek Hill. He's impressed me in preseason game week 1 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. He impressed me despite our debacle against the New England Patriots. He impressed me in that game as well. Just seems quick, athletic, electric, can catch everything that's thrown his way, and I absolutely love everything that he's doing on the field. And for me, because he's so young, because he's a rookie, it really gives us a promising, bright outlook on the future. And I'll tell you this, guys, I mean, this is reason for Miles Sanders to kind of be worried. If he cannot get the catching the ball out of the backfield problem solved, Kenny Gainwell looks good in the running game, and he looks good in the passing game as well. And that's signs of a complete back. That's signs of a complete back. Now, I'm not saying he's going to automatically jump the spot of Miles Sanders, but a couple years down the road, if Kenny Gainwell shows a huge amount of improvement and development, I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised. Right now, we're seeing that with Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert, where they got to go with the younger guy, and they gotta give the younger guy the contract. That's kind of what I'm talking. That's kind of what I'm talking about here. Toxic Falcon says, "Yo, and do you watch college football?" I do. I do watch college football. That's kind of one of the things I do in order to prepare myself for the draft. And, we got to watch these players. We got to watch the players that we got to scout every single year. So that's kind of one of the things that I do. Jalen Hurts was in the zone. Let's get to talking about Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts was in the zone today, kind of throwing it all over the field. He was eager to be back out in practice after missing last week's game against the Patriots. The only issue is this, guys. The only issue is that he hasn't seen many preseason snaps. He hasn't seen many in-game preseason snaps. It's kind of the same issue that we've been talking about. I need to see him in game. The Philadelphia Eagles also dominated on the defensive side today. The defensive line continues to dominate. At least the starting defensive line does. Javon Hargrave continues to have an impressive camp, a dominating camp, so to say, along with defensive end Josh Sweat. So really, honestly, that gets me really excited. I cannot wait to see those guys come week one and what those guys are going to bring to that week one game against the Atlanta Falcons. So I'm really, really excited about that. Fletcher Cox was a little bit limited today. But once week one comes around, they'll all be good to go. Tox Falcon says, are they just saving him for the regular season? If you're talking about Jalen Hurts, nobody really knows what they're doing. Nobody really knows what they're doing, and we don't know yet if they're going to have him play in this game against the Jets on Friday or not. The issue is this. I mean, it would be easy to say that if he were an 8-year starter veteran, and they haven't named a starter yet. And he's not an 8-year starting veteran. This guy's got 4 games under his belt, and he needs some playing time. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it would be easy to say that they're just saving him for the regular season, but on the other hand, it could be that, but we just don't know. And he needs playing time. Tox Falcon says, I honestly think most QBs should play the last preseason game. I do too, man. I think here's the thing. I think that the last preseason game should be a dress rehearsal game. And so back in the day when it was a 4-game format, that third game would be the dress rehearsal game for the starters, and then the fourth game of the preseason, you would rest your starters, and your starters would get your starters would kind of get a couple weeks off until the first game of the season. Now that it's 3 games, there are a lot of teams are kind of adopting this sense of resting their guys. But the thing is that it seems like nobody's really resting their guys as much as the Philadelphia Eagles are. I think if there is another team out there that's doing it, it's probably the Los Angeles Rams, just because Sean McVay doesn't like playing his starters in the preseason. We've seen that with Matthew Stafford. So, I mean, the only difference between Matthew Stafford and Jalen Hurts is, well, there's a lot of differences, but Matthew Stafford has been in the league for a longer period of time, and Jalen Hurts only has 4 games under his belt. Matthew Stafford is a proven veteran, and Jalen Hurts is not. So that's my point. Toxic Falcon says, and I think that the Jags need to sit Trevor for his last preseason game. He's taking too many hits, man. No. I mean, I don't think that they need to sit him. I think that it's good for him I think it's good for him to play so that he doesn't take those hits. There were a couple of plays where he took off and ran, and that was just a bonehead move. So I think that he needs to learn, and he needs to get those reps on learning how not to take those hits. So, maybe we'll see. I mean, he's gotten quite a bit of reps. Over the last couple games. So, for him to rest in this third preseason game does make sense. Maybe he'll play a series, and that's about it. But we'll see. We'll see when it comes to Trevor Lawrence and the Jags. Speaking of the Jaguars, it's unfortunate that they also lost their rookie running back Travis Etienne, obviously out of Clemson. For the year, they put him on IR. So that's unfortunate for them. But yeah, no, really excited to see this defensive line as the season gets going. And because Javon Hargrave caught on late, last season playing under Jim Schwartz, and apparently he's just been playing extraordinarily well all season long. And what do you think about the possibility of Zach Ertz being traded to the New Orleans Saints? I actually am interested in that, but I just don't see it happening until midseason because of the lack of depth that the Eagles now have at the tight end position. And the truth of the matter is that Zach Ertz has been out playing every single tight end on the Philadelphia Eagles roster. That includes Dallas Goedert. Zach Ertz has been out playing Dallas Goedert at the position. And it's no surprise to me. It's no surprise to me Zach Ertz is the better tight end. I've been saying this all along. Zach Ertz is the better tight end. It's just fact of the matter. Yes, is Dallas got a little bit more athletic? Yeah, he is a little bit more athletic, but Zach Ertz is the better route runner, and Zach Ertz is just a more fine-tuned player at the position. So I mean, it just makes sense to have Zach Ertz on the team. It really, really does. It really, really does. But we'll have to see how these things pan out. Speaking of other players and around the league, the Seattle Seahawks released cornerback Pierre as a part of their roster cut down. And for teams looking for cornerback depth, notably the Philadelphia Eagles, if they are looking, I think that they should take a shot on the veteran. He's got some good experience, and I think that they should take a shot on that veteran. Maybe even the Atlanta Falcons. Talks Falcons says y'all cut Joe Osman. Yeah, we did. He was kind of a hidden favorite for a lot of fans. But it needed to happen. And that's another reason for why they probably won't trade Derek Barnett. I think everybody's been hopping on the, let's trade Derek Barnett to the New York Jets train, just because they lost Carl Lawson a few days ago. And I just don't see that. I just don't see that happening. You don't just put a player on the trade block just because another team lost a player of the same position. So it's just a matter. I mean, look, we need that depth. And yes, is Derek Barnett having a similar type of Derek Barnett type of offseason? Yeah, he is. He's doing a solid job. He's not doing a spectacular job, but he's doing a solid job. And from what I remember, he was having an above average camp along with Josh Sweat. So if he can do anything, to kind of keep himself around after this season, that would be beneficial to us. Because we're not sure if Brandon Graham is going to be a lifer in Philadelphia or not. We're not sure if Brandon Graham is going to be a lifer in Philadelphia or not. I would sure love for that to be the case, because I know Brandon Graham wants to stay in Philadelphia for life, but we'll just have to see. Tox Falcon says he got stuck by Nick Chubbs. He got what? He got what by Nick Chubbs? Speaking of other teams around the league, Cam Newton has gone into some disarray with some members of the Patriots organization, and this is a perfect chance for Mac Jones, huge chance for Mac Jones to prove that he can win the starting quarterback job from Cam Newton for week 1 of the regular season. So I think that they should give it to him. I think he's done a phenomenal job. I've never been truly impressed, and I've always thought that Cam Newton was an inconsistent quarterback, so I don't think that his play against our second and third stringers last week was any indication that he's going to have that type of season. I really don't. Mac Jones has done a phenomenal job and continues to do a phenomenal job, so I think that they should just ride it out. Toxic Falcon says, honestly, I would take Derek Barnett. Yeah, I mean, the thing is that if we were going to trade Derek Barnett, I think I would be looking for cornerback depth in return, not necessarily wide receiver depth. If we were going to trade Derek Barnett, I would be looking for probably a 3rd round draft pick, honestly. So would the Falcons be willing to give that up? Because Derek Barnett is worth a 3rd round draft pick. Derek Barnett is definitely worth a 3rd-round draft pick. Here's the thing about Derek Barnett. A lot of Philadelphia Eagles fans, I think, overreact to his lack of production because he's a defensive end that came onto a defensive line that does a heavy rotation, and has had a Brandon Graham type of career so far. Their young careers are very much alike. Derek Barnett came in and had 5.5 sacks in his rookie season and had one of the biggest, fumble recoveries in Eagles history. So, he had a good rookie season. So a lot of Philadelphia Eagles fans, jump the gun way too quickly on hating on Derek Barnett. And so I would want to continue to see what he could do. Brandon Graham, him and Brandon Graham are kind of similar in that way where they didn't have a lot of production, but Derek Barnett is good against the run as well. Derek Barnett, can get sacks when he's in there, can get pressure when he's in there. So, I would still like to keep him on this team. Toxic Falcon says, nah, Falcon's cheap, man. Well, somebody's going to pay a 3rd-round pick for Derek Barnett. He's a good player. Toxic Falcon says, we also signed Josh Rosen. See, we talked about it the other day. I knew somebody was going to give Josh Rosen another chance. Toxic Falcon says he won't beat out Franks, but give him a shot. He was playing for sorry teams like the Cards and Dolphins. Yeah, well, here's the thing. I think before Cliff Kingsbury came in, the Cardinals weren't their offense wasn't necessarily consistent, and then the Dolphins are still going through that. Their defense is better, but the offense I don't rely on as something consistent, and so therefore, yeah, Josh Rosen is kind of in that limbo. I would say if I were to give any kudos to Josh Rosen, I would say that it's been a product of a lack of creativity on offense. But you can't put every quarterback in a mastermind's offense. You really can't. There's only so many Kyle Shanahans in the league. You know what I mean? My thoughts on the NFL top 100 this season. I went over it about a week and a half ago, and then I kind of forgot about it. But I was happy to see 3 Philadelphia Eagles make it. I was happy to see that Fletcher Cox made it. I was happy to see that Jason Kelce made it, and Brandon Graham made it for the first time in his career. So that was pretty awesome at 99. Brandon Graham deserved it. That's kind of all that I really worried about, honestly. So yeah, outside of that, I didn't really focus too much on the top 100. It's trash, man. Toxic Falcon says it's trash. What about it was trash? I know that there was some rankings that were off for sure. And I know that they kind of screwed it up quite a bit. But this is the players. This is the players voting for these players. You know what I mean? Toxic Falcon says, did Fletcher Cox do anything last season? Yeah, Fletcher Cox had a really, really good season. Fletcher Cox is always a consistent defensive tackle. Fletcher Cox is a great player. Yeah, Fletcher Cox had one of his better seasons. But what about the rankings? What about the rankings did you not like? Didn't I see that Russell Wilson came in at like 16th or something like that? Talks Falcons says Fletcher Cox was a demon that Super Bowl season. Yeah, yeah, of course he was. Well, our entire team were a team of demons. Our entire team was a team of demons. Honestly, we all played well. Every single player played well. But I don't necessarily want to talk about the Super Bowl. We don't have Carson Wentz on the team anymore. A lot of those guys are gone. Um, we're so far removed now, even though it was only about 4 years ago. Um, we're so far removed. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. I mean, Carson Wentz returned to Colts practice today and looked good. There's a, like he looks good. He does. He looks ready for the season. He looks like he's ready to go. He looks like he's ready to, have a huge bounce back season. Probably candidate for bounce back player of the year, things of that nature. And because of that reason, like my faith in the Philadelphia Eagles getting another first round draft pick is probably back on. There's bits and pieces of me that are kind of debris of feeling upset about the trade that are still lingering inside of me everywhere. And I'm sure it's always going to be that way. I'm sure it's always going to be that way. The Philadelphia Eagles always do this to us some way or the other. They did it when we got rid of Randall Cunningham, and other players like that. When we got rid of Brian Dawkins and other players like that, and same thing is, unfortunately, this is a different situation. Carson didn't want to play for this team anymore. And I think that, and I just don't think he wanted to play in the presence of Howie Roseman anymore. Honestly, I think that's what it comes down. I think that's what it came down to. I think that's what it came down to. But we're far removed now. We have Jalen Hurts that's going to be the starting quarterback, because I do believe that he is going to be the starting quarterback. And honestly, I believe that Jalen Hurts is going to do some great things. We heard Jalen Reagor say it today. Jalen Reagor believes that Jalen Hurts is going to shock some people this year, and he's going to really do phenomenal. So I'm excited. And that showed in the practice today. Right before they got off the bus, apparently there was this big quote. It was kind of a cool quote. Jalen Hurts went to the wide receivers and said, "I'm in the zone," or "I'm in the mode," or something like that. And then he went off when they got off the practice bus. So pretty cool. Talks Falcon says, "How did Matt Ryan not make the top 100?" That's crazy to me, dude. That's crazy to me. I don't understand how, if he didn't make the top 100, I don't understand that either. Talks Falcon says, how do you go 10 straight seasons with 4,000 passing yards and not make the... Again, I mean, voted by the players, dude. Voted by the players. I don't know. Talks Falcon says, "I know Eagles fans were so mad when Lamb got picked last draft by Cowboys. Y'all honestly were close to get him." Yeah, we were very mad. I think that I think the thing was this, is that it looked like, because Jerry Jones was on the live cam, and he didn't realize that Lamb was still on the board. And so, what was going through our minds was that there was no way that they were still going to take CeeDee Lamb, because they had Amari Cooper, they had Michael Gallup, and I think they even had another wide receiver at the time that was doing a decent job. But then, Jerry ended up smiling all big and wide, and then finally took CD Lamb at 16, and it's just like, fuck. You know what I mean? And it's just like, so there was nothing that we could do. The thing is is that, I don't think that the Philadelphia Eagles were going to, wanted CD Lamb that bad. Otherwise, they would have traded up. If they wanted CD Lamb that bad, they would have traded up to go get him. That's the thing. Just like they did with Devontae Smith. Like that's what seems. And we don't know the verdict on Jalen Reagor yet. We just don't know. We don't know the verdict on Jalen Reagor yet. And Talk Falcon says we actually could have got him at 17. Exactly. So I mean, there were other teams. There were other teams that possibly could have taken Lamb. So I mean, what are you going to do at that point? The past is the past, and all we can do now is just hope for a better future. You know what I mean? So, but yes, I mean CD Lamb. I mean he's going to be a baller. He's going to be a baller. I mean, like I said last night, though, he was recently placed on the COVID list, so I mean he's going to be out for a little bit, but he'll be back. Toxic Falcons. Why didn't you all try to get Des Bryant? To be honest, because I just didn't think Des was kind of washed out after you guys had him. That's why. Or not you guys, but Des was kind of washed out after the Cowboys had him. So I don't think, I mean, he hasn't really done much since. Tox Falcon says, get a guy who can teach the young wideouts. Yeah, I mean that's the reason for bringing in a veteran wide receiver. That's the reason for bringing in a veteran wide receiver. I mean, what it is right now is there isn't that veteran wide receiver presence, with the exception of Greg Ward, who has made a living on this team, by running the great routes that he runs, and that's why he's on this team. And then Devontae Smith, who just is absolutely astounding, and is a natural at the position, who's teaching the other wide receivers. So I mean, yeah, I think a veteran wide receiver presence would be a phenomenal decision for the Philadelphia Eagles. But there's not really anybody out there. Larry Fitzgerald is still a free agent, yes, but he came out and said that he's okay just not signing with anybody right now. So that's kind of the only guy that I would want to sign to come in and teach these other wide receivers. Pick up Tim Tebow. You're just throwing random stuff out there now. No, I would never in a million years sign Tim Tebow. You guys can sign Tim Tebow. I would never sign Tim Tebow. Never, never, never. But I mean, Tox Falcon says he can block. Yeah, but we don't need that. We don't need that. And we don't have space for that. That's the thing. We don't necessarily have space for that. Dallas Goedert is a good blocker, and Jack Stoll is a good blocker, and so Tebow, no, no. Like I said, I think that the Eagles need more depth at the safety, at the cornerback position. They're going to use Kenny Gainwell a lot in the passing game, more so than people think. And it's gonna take the place really of that fourth wide receiver spot, honestly. So the Eagles, so it's going to be Jalen Reagor, Devontae Smith, Quez Watkins, and probably Kenny Gainwell in a bunch of packages, and then Miles Sanders on the field at the same time. So you're seeing a lot of 21 personnel from the Philadelphia Eagles with Miles Sanders and Kenny Gainwell on the field at the same time, or things like that. You'll see. They still have Zach Ertz, they still have Dallas Goedert, so they're going to have options in the passing game. Talks Falcons says, wait, did you say y'all would trade Ertz to the Saints? I said that there was a rumor that came out about the possibility of the Eagles trading Ertz to the Saints because they have injuries. They have injuries at the Saints at their tight end position, but so do the Eagles. That's what I'm saying. Is like we can't just keep throwing players on the trade block just because other teams, have injuries at their position, because we have injuries at the same position. We lost Tyree Jackson for 8 to 10 weeks, and we lost Jason Kroom for the season. And yeah, did we just sign a guy? Who played for the Cardinals? Yeah, we did. But he's probably pretty much just a camp body. Do we still have Jack Stoll? Yeah, we do. Promising undrafted rookie free agent, and I really like him. He reminds me a little bit of Brent Selleck. Not as much of a hard runner, but is a hard runner, who I think that they should keep and just stash the other guys on the. But right now it's Dallas Goedert, Zach Ertz, and Richard Rodgers, and then Jack Stoll. So I mean, what are you going to do with Jack Stoll? Are you going to keep him, or what are you going to do? I mean, you can trade Ertz, but I don't think it's wise because of the fact that you got so many injuries. But I understand where you're coming from. What would you want from the Saints? Says Toxic Falcons. The Saints defense is great, man. Yeah, it took them a while. It took them a while to get that great. You know what? I at one of their cornerbacks, off the top of my head, I can't remember the name. Let me see. Maybe even I probably want a safety more than anything from them. Marcus Williams? No, not Marcus Williams. Maybe PJ Williams. Jenkins or more. I mean, I don't think we're going to get Jenkins back. I mean, there's Paulson Adebo, who they just drafted, so I don't think it's going to be him. I mean, Marshawn Lattimore, that's probably not going to happen because he's their starter. Patrick Robinson, Bryce Thompson, Keith Washington. Yeah, these are all cornerbacks. Yeah, I would say safety Marcus Williams or CJ Gardner Johnson. Honestly, a safety. We need a safety. The Philadelphia Eagles need a safety. So safety Marcus Williams or safety CJ Gardner Johnson honestly. I think it would cost a little bit more than Zach Ertz to go get those guys, but Rodney McLeod's coming back from an injury, the second one in like 2 years, and he's probably not gonna be healthy for week 1. And Anthony Harris is about 29, 28, so who's looked good. So I'm excited about that. So yeah, they need safety depth, and behind the safety depth, or behind those starting safeties, like there's not much. Same thing with the cornerbacks too. I mean, whatever they need, whatever they can get, really. Tox Falcon says, you hear Travis Etienne is out for the season. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. Travis Etienne is out for the season, unfortunately. But yeah, I would trade Zach Ertz to the Saints and maybe a pick for one of their safeties, or even one of their cornerbacks. But that's a good point. Maybe I'll have to do a separate video about that. But with that said, this is DB Talking Now, DB Talking Birds, DB Talking Philadelphia Eagles, Toxic Falcons. Thank you, my man, for joining me. I'm not sure what's been going on lately, but nobody's been in here except for you, and I really, really appreciate it. One love, stay safe, stay healthy, and go Birds, baby.